Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and this afternoon I'm joined by Chris McCowan, as well as Sean Conley, all the way from Australia, and Kevin McCluskey, all the way from Hungary. We are here, of course, for the big one. We have Sean paying homage to Luke McCowan, and Kevin McCluskey paying homage to Joe Ledley, let's just say. I was going to say Peter Sutcliffe, but we'll go with Ledley. Chris, double
Ledley,
denim.
definitely.
Double denim. As always, the teams are in, guys. Let's just dive right in, because whilst we run through the teams, we can have a wee chat about some of the new names that are appearing on Celtic's bench today. First and foremost, Chris McCowan, big derby day. How are you feeling?
I've got the pre-game jitters, if I'm honest, and by rights we shouldn't, because we're coming into this in some cracking form. We've got some new faces in the door as well, but we've had the core of the first team is there, minus obviously Matt O'Reilly, but the core of the first team that started the season so well is there. They're playing consistently, been consistently outstanding, I think, since the start of the season. We've got a good, fluid-looking team, and yes, I'm quietly confident. I never like to get too cocky right before the game, because you always worry that anything can and might happen, and you've got everything from officials to different decisions, and players can have an off day. But no, do you know what? I'm up for this. I would like to see another demolition derby. So I'm gonna I won't do my prediction just yet, but I've got 2000 2001 vibes. The Martin O'Neill era derbies. That's what I'm hoping for.
I like that. You come in saying that you're jittery, but actually you're fully confident. You're talking about demolition derbies. I think I've got some of the original videos on the shelf there. And we've got yourself, Sean, coming in all the way from Australia. What time is it over there, mate?
It's 7 p.m. at night. So
7 p.m.
Yeah, this Sunday league football is not great for me, but at least it's a nice early kickoff this time instead of the usual late ones that we've had lately.
Yeah, without a doubt. And of course, it's given us the first chance really to have a look back and review the transfer window. And we can do that as we go through the team as well. But overall, what was your thoughts about the business we've done in the summer window?
Obviously, we'd have liked it to have happened earlier. I still think we're one light. When you look at the actual Champions League squad, we're going to be one player short. We won't have 25. We'll be naming 24. I would have had Danny Armstrong in there, because at the moment it's going to be one of the players that's dropping out. It's probably going to be Yang. He's just going to be out the squad regardless. So I would have had Danny Armstrong in there to fill the squad. Other than that, I'm happy with how it's shaped out. I was surprised at Iwata leaving, but if Turley's going to get a chance, then that's fine. That's the way we're going.
Yeah, it is. And when you look at the kind of price that we got, the transfer fee we got for Iwata compared to what we spent for McCowan, the age profile, different types of player, of course, but it was one in, one out. It sometimes just comes down, Kevin, to the fact that the gaffer doesn't fancy you. I mean, he's not been using them this season.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. When it comes to something like that, I mean, we can sit in these programmes, and I think I'm right to say the four of us all rate Iwata has been a good player, someone that's come in, especially in this fixture previously, and held his own and helped us get through a few games. But if he's not in the manager's plans, there's no point keeping him in the building. So we can all be disappointed that he's gone, but yeah, there's no point having him if he's not playing. He obviously likes the look of Luke McCowan, seems to be a decent enough player. I mean, we spoke about him before as well, and he would never have been my first choice as player for Celtic to go and sign, but to have him in the squad, a homegrown player, someone that can get in that European squad, Celtic fan who knows what it means to play for the club, pretty sure he'll turn out to be a pretty good signing. And you've got to trust Brendan that he knows what he's doing, because he's the man in charge. So yeah, let's be disappointed that Mata's gone, but just get behind Luke McCowan and the rest of the boys that have come in.
Well, anyone who tunes in on a regular basis will know that over the last few weeks, indeed, since the links to McCowan arose, I wasn't sold on it. I wasn't sold on the idea of bringing him to the football club. I think it's happened, and my view on it, because it's happened, of course, Chris, is that we've got a player here who, for me, the nucleus of Celtic team, you need 4 or 5 people who know what it means to the fans, right? Yeah. Now, listen, it's modern football, and people use Celtic as a stepping stone and part of a career path and all this kind of stuff. And we've learned to accept that. and just get on with it. But I think for a club like Celtic, if you don't have that 4 or 5, the heartbeat of the football club, and mainly from, let's be honest, mainly from your own academy, then there's something missing for me. And at the moment, I'm looking at McCowan and I'm thinking to myself, this is a kid who is absolutely Celtic daft, from a Celtic daft family, right? He's come in at £1 million. He's part of the homegrown quota. He is outside of Celtic. The first player you'd go to in the league, one of the first players you'd go to in the domestic league and sign him. He doesn't strike me as a type of a Christie signing or a Turnbull signing because of the age of him. But a lot of people have been saying, but remember Paul Hartley, remember Barry Robson, guys that came in and did so well for Celtic, Chris. And I'm
David
looking
Hanna.
at McCowan. Well, David Hanna, I mean, he was a player again under Tommy Burns, though, that was one of the finest players in the league. I'd maybe put him in the Scott Allen bracket. It just didn't work for him, kind of thing. But I'm now looking at McCowan, Chris, and I'm thinking, actually, I like it. I mean, maybe it was the wee video footage, the snippet of him coming on the park, and it was just like there was almost tears in the boy's eyes. It meant so much to him. Now, listen, we'd all feel like that as well, but he's also got the talent on top of it. So I'm now looking at it, and I want to see him making his debut today. And hopefully by that stage, maybe after 65 minutes, with a couple of goals to the good. I've been completely turned around on the purchase of Luke McCowan. I've got to put my hands up and say that.
Yeah, and I'm going to put my hands up as well. I think initially when he was first linked, I didn't pay it too much credibility. I thought there were potentially other players out there, both in the domestic league and abroad. I mean, we speak about Lennon Miller and a few other guys that we've been linked with. But you know what? I was thinking about Luke McCowan, and there's something that always occurs to me. A lot of players that we bring into the club, they sometimes don't appreciate what they had at the club, what they experience, how fabulous this club is, until they either finish up or they leave, and then you hear them talking about it in such glowing terms. When you watch Luke McCowan walking out into the stadium, he already gets it. He already gets it, right? He is in love with the club before he's kicked the ball for us. And we've spoken a lot about things that really resonate with the fans. Who amongst everybody that's watching us at the moment, everybody that's going to watch the game, everybody that's going to be sitting in the stands, who's watching at home, whatever, how many of us would give a right arm to go and be in Luke McCowan's position right now? And listen, I don't think he's lucked into it. I want to make that really clear. He's not won a lottery ticket here to come and play with the club. He's been very, very highly regarded, not just by the Dundee supporters, but actually with everybody talking about the league. For me, he's earned the right to come here and show what he can do. Now, look, the challenge is on him. The challenge is on him to show that he belongs in this team, that he can come in, that he can make an impression, fulfill the manager's expectations, fulfill the fans' expectations, and repay the faith in bringing him in here. But I am 100% behind him, and I can't wait to see him make his debut. And I think you're right. You cannot underestimate the power of someone who is born and bred a Celtic supporter and becomes a Celtic player. I don't think there's another club on the entire planet that Luke McCowan will try harder for than Celtic. And I want to be there to witness him doing that on the pitch. So yeah, fair play to him. Welcome to the club, son, and we're all behind you.
You sound like an old Celtic dad there. Welcome to the club, son.
I am an old Celtic dad.
There is that. Right, let's run through some of these comments, then we'll have a deep dive into the teams as well. Sean Lengel is saying, greetings from Washington, DC. Come on the hoops. Let us know where you're watching the game today and where you're tuning into Acsom from as well. And also give us a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Henrik McLarson, 2-0. I take a 1-0. I actually suggested 1-0 Liam Scales. I'm going to stick with it. I've been saying that all week. I've changed. I've had a turnaround and kind of thought around Luke McCowan, but I'm sticking to my guns on the scoreline. Talking to Luke McCowan, a few years ago, I came into possession of, and I've actually got one of them behind here, but it's pretty big. Let me see if I can grab it, right? Possession of 2 big, massive trophies, right? Okay, here we go. Like that size, right? Celtic trophies for the old youth days, okay? Where am I going to put this now? Let's not get.
Did you just buy it for yourself? Just so you got a trophy?
I'm going. I'm going to put all my purchase trophies on the shelving system here. This one,
number one Celtic supporter, it says on it.
Look at that, it's a bit wobbly. But this one is for Barry Elliott, and it's from 1994. You'll remember Barry actually made his debut for Celtic. The other one that I was given, and I was given the task of trying to find the rightful owners and return them, because the guy inherited them somehow, and obviously the boys might want their trophies back. The other one was a young striker called JP Dow, from the kind of Greenock area, and I managed to get a hold of him because he used to play for Celtic alongside a pal of mine who I went to school with, and I managed to get his phone number, and we met up one night when I was doing a gig in Greenock, and I handed over his trophy, and I'm sure there's a picture on Twitter somewhere of me doing this. He never ever made the grade at Celtic, but he was a right good player, JP Dow. Well, it turns out John Paul Dow is actually Luke McCowan's uncle. It's his uncle. So there you go. His uncle was at Celtic, didn't make an appearance. There's also a family link to Andy Murdoch. Those in the comments, I'm pretty sure, will remember Andy Murdoch as a Celtic goalie as well. Celtic daft. I'm right behind him, and I hope he does really well with us, obviously. David Cooper is in to say, Kuhn to run riot and score a hat-trick. Love to see it. He's a player that we've tipped this season, Sean, on a Celtic state of mind since pre-season. This would be brilliant if this was his proper breakout performance, though, wouldn't it, today?
It would. Hopefully, he's been great so far. Probably our best player, most informed player to start the season. So I'm hoping that he shows that today in the big game, and then that carries on to be performances in the big games in Europe, and he could certainly go on to be our player of the year if he does maintain that, because I reckon maybe it's between him, Hatate, and McGregor for whoever's been the strongest player so far, but I think certainly as an attacking force, he's been our strongest player so far.
He's been brilliant. And by the way, on the note of that trophy that's to my right here, unlike Sean's suggestion, I'm not going to start claiming that it was me that won it. So if Barry Elliott or anybody that knows Barry is out there, give me a shout. I would more than happy drive through and hand it in. Kuhn got a kind of a shout out from us, Kevin, early doors this season, and he has had a brilliant start to the season, of course. But I think that my disappointment from the transfer window is that we didn't strengthen on the wing. I think that that's the one area, probably on the left-hand side, that I would have liked to have seen someone coming in. But Kuhn can definitely, cut through this defence today. I think he is our danger man today.
Yeah, I think so. I'll echo what Sean's saying there. I think Kuhn's had a highly impressive start to the season. It's 2 goals, 2 assists already so far. He's probably been 3
goals. Yeah, and the cup as
3
well.
goals. Apologies, sorry. So 3 goals, 2 assists in the year. That's even better than I thought. He probably has been our best player, our most effective attacking player, certainly at the start of this season. And I think today will be a massive game for him. He should be up against either, is it Jeffy or Sterling at right back for them? No, sorry, it'll be at left back, sorry, because he's on the right. So it'll be one of them at left back. And I don't think either of them are up to the task of facing Kuhn. An on-fire Kuhn will be able to take them on. He's got that ability to go outside, to cut inside. He's finding a final ball now, which he wasn't last season, and he's looking more effective and clinical in front of goal as well. So I think he could be a very influential player for us today. And yeah, let's hope this is that breakout game, as we're saying, and he can go in and continue that into the season. And if we get more goals, more assists from him, then that kind of softens a bit of the blow, losing Matt O'Reilly, for sure, because we need someone to fill that void. And it might as well be Nicholas Kuhn, if not anyone else. But yeah, I think to get back into what you were saying as well, is that an area that we're weak in now in the wings? Probably. We've still got Forrest, Palmer, Yang. We've got the numbers that can come in and step in if anyone's injured, but it's that wee bit drop off in quality. So probably another winger, another centre forward if we were being greedy, and we'd actually come away with a perfect transfer window. But we don't have those other players. We've got to go with what we've got, and I think what we've got is definitely strong enough to win this game. I think it's strong enough for us to go in and win the league again.
Yeah, I think everybody's seen the starting lineup, but here we go. It's Schmeichel in goals with Johnston, Carter, Vickers, Scales and Taylor, McGregor, Bernardo and Hatate with Kuhn, Maeda and Kyogo up top. When looking at my strongest starting 11 at the beginning of the season, this was it. This was it, Chris. The one question mark was around, and by the way, we hadn't signed Ida at that time, but the one question mark was around the right wing, of course, and that was Kuhn or Forrest. Forrest is on the bench, and if Forrest makes an appearance today, Chris, it'll be his 500th appearance for the football club. So we go back to that. I mean, for me, the bench is looking really strong. Sinisalo yet to make a competitive appearance, as is Trusty and Valle, McCowan and Engels. And then you've got also Palmer on the bench alongside Ida, Forrest and Ralston. So there could well be, there's a right good chance someone will be making their debut against Rangers today, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I mean, we've spoken about recruitment till the cows come home, but I think now this is a set of players that we've got to get behind and back until January. I agree with what Sean has said earlier. I thought we should have got our business done earlier in the window. If these were our targets, then I would like to have seen the business done earlier so we could have time to bed them in. But you know what? They're here now, and we've got the advantage of having, as I said earlier, a very strong first 11. They're performing well at the moment. Now, yeah, would we have liked maybe another winger? Well, actually, I've heard that both Valle and Engels could potentially play in the wing if required. So I think what we do have now is more quality and depth, which I'm really, really pleased to see. Agree. I think what a great resource to have on the bench in James Forrest, right? I mean, I like probably James himself will not want to come on just for sentiment's sake to get his 500th appearance today. If he comes on, he'll want to come on and make a real impact on the game, and hopefully we'll get the opportunity to do that one way or another. But he again is having a bit of a career renaissance. Really pleased for him. I think he's starting to really solidify his status as a real Celtic legend, and hopefully that's how he'll be remembered when he does decide to hang up the boots. But yeah, it's a strong team. I know we've bemoaned the loss of Matt O'Reilly, but I think the fact we've retained players like Kyogo and Hatate, who were heavily linked with going away. There was even some speculation Carter Vickers was interest. We've got a keeper in that I think is the equivalent of Joe Hart, and potentially in some areas maybe a little bit more comfortable, particularly with the ball at his feet. We've got a real strong spine of that team. And you know what? We've got, for me, two really good options on the wing, first choice in Kuhn and Maeda. You've got Forrest who can come in, and we're going to get a chance to see what the new boys can do. So yeah, I think we're in a good position today. I just hope the new boys come in, and if they do get the chance, that they gel quickly and they hit the ground running. But I'm confident in our starting lineup today.
Yeah, I think you've got to be. And Sean, when you look at the bench, as well as the new guys coming in, which is always great to refresh and re-energise the squad, you also look at the guys who have dropped out, who are still at the football club. So you've got players like Odin Holm and Yang, who are no longer in favour. And you look at them and think, right, okay, it's great to have the kind of depth of squad, but when are they going to get game time? And if they don't get game time, that's the type of player that I would be looking at in January to see if they've been involved, and if not, perhaps you move them on at that stage.
Yeah, look, we've got a pretty dense calendar coming up, especially staying in the Cup this year. 2 extra European games. I think there's going to be injuries, so there's going to be space for players. But as you said, that is worth, certainly should be something that we'd review even before January. I think that the work for January transfer window should be starting yesterday, to be totally honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we should be in the same position where we're chasing deals at the last minute. I think we should be having them lined up to come in on the 1st of January. Even if they can't play in the European squads, we want them in straight away. We don't want mucking about. And if that means players leaving on the 1st of January too, then that's fine.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, as well as obviously offloading any non-contributing players, it would be a case of bringing in someone who is going to be pushing for that place on the bench and that place in the starting lineup as well. We're going to look obviously at our opposition today, and we have Butland, Tavernier, look, Cropper. I know it's so Certi Bear, as we say. Suter, Jeff J, Sterling, Barron, Diamondi, Matondo, Tierney, and Dessers. When asked about this at the beginning of the week, I said that there's a lot of guys who started this fixture last season who won't be starting for Rangers, and really, we've only lost the one. That's massive as well, Kev, isn't it? Because in terms of the dynamic of a team, you're now seeing a Brendan Rodgers side that has clicked, and it clicked last season. at the right time to go ahead and win the double, and it's continued that form into this season as well. It's taken a wee while, I think, for us to get over, and we were talking about this, to get over that very unique style and tempo that Ange Postecoglou implemented. I thought we were pretty poor in the final few months of Ange's tenure, and then pretty poor in the first few months of Brendan's, but we seem to have got over that now, Kev.
Yeah, we do. And I think we underestimated how long that would take. Because I remember being on these shows with yourself and a few of the other boys last season before last, towards the end of Ange's reign, and at that point, I think we knew he was going, and we were all like, it almost doesn't matter whoever the next man is, as long as he plays a 4-3-3 system, we've got the players that can cope and we'll get through it. I don't think we realised just how big of a shift it is from going to Ange's 4-3-3 to a regular or any other manager's version of 4-3-3. And it probably took us the best part of 5 or 6 months to get into a rhythm properly under Brendan. The saving grace we had was we've got a very good squad of players, and they were able to grind out results through the tough points last season. So by the time everything did click in, we were always going to push on from that point on, and we did in that final 8 games or so of the season. We were unplayable at some points, and we've carried that on into this season. Some of the football in the first 3-4 games of this season has been frightening, like getting the early goals in almost every game, having matches pretty much thrown up by half time, and playing real quality, attractive, attacking Celtic football. It's been great to watch. And yeah, going into a game like this, we've got familiarity within our team. We've got consistency. We've got some really good players. We know how we're going to play the game. And if we play our game and enforce that on Rangers, then, well, it's a line I came out with a couple of seasons ago. But if a Celtic Rangers game becomes a football match, Celtic wins, because we can outplay them in every single department of the park. If it becomes a bit of a fight and a tussle, then it's a tougher game. But I think we're still strong enough to come through it. And if you look in the flip side to their team, there's so many players that will be making their debuts in this fixture. There's so many players that underperformed in the fixture last season. You can just imagine they're going into Celtic Park in front of 60,000 Celtic fans. That atmosphere, it's going to be electric. And the weak-willed and weak-minded people that's in that squad will crumble, they'll suffer because they're not used to it. And we've got guys like Callum McGregor, he'll rise to that occasion. I think Bernardo's a boy that will rise to that occasion because he seems to be a big game player. Kuhn's on fire, he'll be up for it. Kyogo is Kyogo. Right? I'm not going to say you're always guaranteed a goal with him because I'll jinx him that way. But, you're guaranteed a goal when Kyogo's in the team. We're strong. So I think, I'm confident about this game. I don't want to be overly confident, but I can't help it. I'm confident. I think we'll do it. And I think they'll have a few players that they will need to have a strong 5 to 10 minutes at the start of the game. Otherwise, it could be a long afternoon for them. And I really hope it is.
I hope it is as well. Gary Oliver is predicting 4-0 today, boys and girls. Kuhn to cause mayhem. There's a few people looking forward to seeing Kuhn. John Shirley points out 500 games for wee Jamesy. If he comes on, play 500 more. Not sure. Might play about another 50 more. Hail, wee man. Absolutely. And Henrik McLarson, you're back in. It's a brace. We feature on Jamesy on Sky TV. Hope he features at some point. So do I. Paddy Lavery, great to see you. Popping up there as well. Looking fresh with your Acsom hat on there, by the way. If you want a bucket hat, you know where to find them. And a Celtic fan's view. We score early today. I can see this being a belter. Just got that feeling with the we have been playing, plus the Glasgow Derby atmosphere, 60,000 boys and girls. Who tuned in? Who watched the Brendan Ponsonby? No, I've got Brendan on the brain here, right? Bernard Ponsonby. Who watched the show last night? Did you watch it, Chris?
It was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said to you earlier, I feel like Bernard's been around for years, and yet I was amazed to see just how sharp he is, the stories he could tell. He shouldn't be retiring. He could go on, a bit like the point there on James. Yeah, I think Bernard could go and do another good few years. But I thought brilliant, really good dynamic between him and Tommy. Some really brilliant contributions from Acsom as well. And I've been fortunate enough to do a couple of This Is Acsom shows with Acsom, and honestly, the guy is an absolute natural. So great. It's always great seeing him on. Decent host as well. Host wasn't bad. I mean, I'll be honest. The host was okay. You know,
the host has to just float along. Doesn't really have to be, certainly no the eye candy. That's for sure. Jungle Lion back from Spain. It's about time this morning. Bring it on. And we've also got Michael McDonald saying we should have done an hour. We could have done an hour, Michael. If we ever do decide to do stuff like that, because it is normally generally 30 minutes, we will announce it on those socials as well. Kieran, I'm more than happy with McCowan and Engels on the bench. Is it a bit soon for Trusty? I've not even seen a highlight reel for him. I don't think he'll get a game until there's an injury. I mean, the two guys, it's the centre-back positions, they've got the jerseys as far as I'm concerned. And if one of them has to be rested or whatever, it's then Trusty's job to come in and impress us. Lord Flashheart, got to say the bench is looking good. Got to agree with that as well. 3-0, says SDM. Paul Byrne, 3-0. 4-1, Dylan O'Donnell. Very, very confident in the chat. And Ian Roy comes in. Listen, Ian, you've got to hold your hands up at times. You're allowed to change your mind as well. And I have given in to liking McCowan. He's, by the way, whoever we sign, I get right behind them. Whoever we sign, I get right behind them. Even when we sign Kenny Miller and Stephen Presley, I go right behind them. Obviously, you can change your mind after that as well. We've got George Nicholson coming in. PG, I think you've been underestimating what McCowan can bring to us. Yeah, I agree. And I hope that he's absolutely sensational for Celtic. Green Smoke 67, bag of nerves, Mon the Hoops. It's always a nervy affair. Absolutely. Watching from the Gold Coast is Jamie Cameron in Australia. Let's go Celtic. Right. Educate me on geography, Sean. Are you anywhere near Jamie?
No, I'd say you're closer to Kev than I am to Jamie.
What about John Newlands then? Are you close to John?
Say, no, Perth is the most isolated capital in the world. We are in the arse of nowhere at the moment.
I should have stuck in on the old geography. Is Mikey on the bench? Come on, he's gone. We're going to have to do a big tribute show for Mikey Johnson. And James Cormack again. Forrest is a massive weapon to have on your bench. Make him wait, then come in and close it. Hope he plays, gets a goal. Engels can play centre, right wing, and right back. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do for us as well. We haven't really spoken about it, but let's touch on the officials for today's game. Because obviously there's no Rangers fans in the stands, but there's a couple on refereeing and VAR. Sean, how big a part will they play?
Hopefully no part. Hopefully they will go through the game unremarked upon. I've actually been pleasantly surprised with the stand. Not surprised. I've been. So far the officials have been above my expectations this year. The use of VAR has been above my expectations. The St Johnstone moment notwithstanding, I think they've been getting it right. And I'm hoping we see more of that today. But and I think we'll probably have a couple of penalty shouts that are kind of marginal, and VAR won't pick it up, and everyone will be hand wringing about it. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine that the game is not being refereed. We re-refereed, and I would like that we win the game playing football, and there's not any anything coming down to officiating in any way. I hope they don't get mentioned at all.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think that, it's one of the things, I've said this before, Kevin, where else in European football is the announcement of the officials such a big deal for games involving Celtic? I mean, seriously, it's a thing that shouldn't be a thing, but it is in Scottish football. And that's why I brought it up. But I'm the same as Sean. Hopefully there's nothing we're going to be talking about that is going to be contentious. If it is, obviously we've got our resident referee and Sean to come in and give us a wee bit of balance. Is it something that's on your mind, Kev?
No, not really, not pre-match. Because like I said, I look at our team and I look at the way that we've been playing in the opening matches of the season. And I think if we put in a similar performance today as we have done over the opening 3-4 games, then our football should be enough to do the talking on the pitch, and that should be good enough to see us get the win. But there is always a niggle at the back of the mind that maybe an honest mistake goes against you. It's a penalty, it's a red card, it's something that can change the course of the game. So I suppose that doubt's always there. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on the positives and thinking that the team that's going out there in the park for us, in my opinion, it's very strong and it's good enough to win the game, regardless of any refereeing interference. But again, like Sean's saying, I just hope we don't have to talk about the referees at halftime or full time, because we've, like I said, done the talking on the pitch with our football and with a wonderful 2-0 victory.
Nice. Oh, we're talking predictions now. I've already given you mine. It's
Yes.
1-0. Kev is going for 2-0. Chris McElwain, aka Double Denim. Give me a prediction.
Well, like everybody, I would be just as happy with a 1-0 victory, but I also want to see us make a wee bit of a statement. So I made a prediction earlier in the week, and I'm going to stick by it. I'm going 5-1 Demolition Derby.
1, 2, 5. Sean, what about yourself?
I never predict anything more than a 1-goal win or a draw in these games. So I'm going to go with 2-1 to Celtic. But I may have a cheeky bet on that is slightly different from that I will not share for fear. Too much trauma in the past.
Yeah, you don't want to put a hex on it. Thanks everybody for getting involved. As I said before, give us a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you again at halftime. Go and enjoy the match. And I'll tell you something else. If you're going to do what Mappy's doing, please drink responsibly. Thanks everybody for getting involved on A Celtic State of Mind.